Just a quick note before today's show. While we have transformed our entire platform to respond to the ongoing crisis, increasing our production of both podcast episodes and blogs, we cannot continue without your support. Please consider making a donation or contributing as a volunteer to support our active engagement at this critical time. For this episode of Inside Myanmar podcast, we are continuing our exploration of the Myanmar media landscape and going into what they've been covering and some of the challenges of the whole industry, basically having to operate in exile and the challenges that poses. And for this episode, we're going to be getting regional and we're going to be getting granular and looking at particularly the kinds of content and regional access that Mekong News covers in their reporting. So I'm excited to be able to bring you the founder and editor of Mekong News to talk about his journey and the journey of the publication. I'd like to welcome you for taking the time to join us. If you can introduce yourself and share a bit about your background and the early days of your publication.
Yes. Hello. My name is Nyan Linn Htet. I am founder and managing editor of Mekong News. Mekong News was based in Tachileik and was founded in September 2019. We are covering the Shan State in Myanmar and currently state. Especially our target area is Eastern Shan State. Eastern Shan State is famous with its smuggling and other crime cases, and Tachileik is the city of Korean Triangle where Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, and China meet. I started my journalism career in 2012, and in 2018 I moved to Tachileik in Eastern Shan State, and I found that there are a lot of interesting stories that are uncovered in media, and I work as a managing editor in a regional media outlet, and I found that I can do more, or even in my own. So by collaboration with local reporter, one of my friend, and I decided to found that Mekong News. My initial aim is to uncover the interesting story in Eastern Shan State, including traditional and culture of ethnicities.
And so why Tachileik and why Eastern Shan State? Because you're not from there. I believe you're from the Bago region.
Yeah.
And so why go to a place where regionally, ethnically, culturally, even linguistically was so different from you and your background?
Yes. Tachileik was the very new place to me when I moved. When I moved, but eventually I found that we can do many things, many new things as a journalist in that area, and it is not it is not very difficult to communicate with local people, and that's why I choose Tachileik and Eastern Shan State. Yeah.
Was there something in the region that, or the people or the culture, was there something there that really grabbed you compared to all the other places you could have chosen to go?
Yes. Um, at that area, there are uh, uh, largest ethnic organizations like UWSA and NTAA Myla. They and their role is very important in Myanmar peace building process, and also there are some interesting things like drug smuggling in that area. That area is very famous with its drug smuggling, and also there are some minor ethnic people like Akha and Lahu, and their tradition and culture are very interesting. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
why these things are uh, uh, the ones I want to grab. Yeah,
I see. So you have three things that are really grabbing
yeah,
your attention: the very small ethnic minorities
yeah.
that haven't come in contact with in other places, the armed groups, and the drug smuggling. So let's look at those three things individually and independently to understand the context of the region that you were not just based in personally, but you were professionally having to report as media. And before getting into those three categories, if I can ask you, what was it like being a journalist and being the head of a whole media organization in a region where you had these real sensitivities? I mean, drug operations don't really welcome outside investigative journalism. Ethnic armed organizations are probably more interested in amplifying their message than accurate, objective journalism peering into what they're doing and how they're doing it. So, what were some of the challenges of being media in a place where all this was going on?
Yes. Uh, there are a lot of challenges to cover these issues because, as you know, at that area, uh, uh, people can be killed easily, even though you are a journalist or a businessman. We need to we need to negotiate with
Mm-hmm.
many things to cover story at that area. Yet the biggest challenge is safety, and we need to take care in in every reporting, uh, uh, and uh, we need to negotiate with armed group authorities. And we had to listen their voice and their desire. So for me, there are a lot of challenges like safety and traveling and things like that.
Is there an example you can think of a story pre-coup that you wanted to report on and you were trying to report on, and you were unable to really proceed in the way you would have liked because of safety issues or because of lack of access? Is there some example you can tell us about?
Yes, in 2019, there was a case. Uh, there was a assassination case uh, in Tachileik. There was killing the most famous businessman in downtown area,
Hmm.
shooting by gun. Two men came with motorcycle, and at the traffic point, uh, the businessman got stopped and they shot and that. At that story, I wanted to cover fully, but some friends and authority want me not to go deeper
I see.
than the funeral story. Yeah,
Right. I see.
yeah. I was able to report just only about the businessman and his background, just
Right.
only that. Yeah.
Right. Right. So you're talking about having media in a place that maybe has never been accustomed to having media in their backyard and being able to act with more impunity, whether they're a criminal enterprise, an ethnic armed group, or a military figure, or whatever else. This is a much more lawless, kind of ruleless place without rule of law to the extent that even in some of the urban areas in Myanmar would be. So when you encountered these kinds of situations where someone, a prominent businessman being assassinated in broad daylight in a public area, this is certainly news, and certainly news that you want to report on, and yet you're referencing a feeling of unsafety as you try to report on it. So, how, as the editor of the main media platform in your region, how do you proceed or respond when you're trying to report on it, but people don't want this to be reported on?
Yes. Honestly, I had to get up uh, uh, for my reporting because I had that at that area. The especially criminal where negotiate with you before as much as they can. They will negotiate as much as they can with you uh, before they assassinate someone. So that case shot me at the time. So I have to give up on reporting that story. Yeah.
After the coup happened, there was a spate of violence that has continued unabated to this day all across Myanmar. And I think some listeners might not recall or know in detail that violence has been consistent in other parts of the country even before the coup. That there were places that really haven't known peace or stability even during the time of NLD or the transition period. Other places were relatively peaceful, and the coup launched a prolonged period of violence, which we're still experiencing to this day. But where you were going to Eastern Shan State, this has been marked by violence for countless years and decades, and long before the coup.
Yes, in Shan State, the situation is a bit different, largely other part of the country. As you know, Shan State is the largest state in the country, and there are a lot of ethnic groups and militias, and also there are big amount of military unit in Shan State. So it's very complicated, and uh, as you know, in 2015, USDP government trying to get national ceasefire agreement (NCA) to USDP government arranged NCA in 2015, but they were able to manage to sign only some ethnic group or organization and to sign on NCA agreement. The main EAOs are in Shan State, like UWSA and NDAA, MNDAA, the Kogan, KIA, and TNLA. Yeah, uh, uh, they are the members of FENCC, and also in Shan State there's another big EAO called RCSS, and the UWSA crew and RCSS has no UWSA crew and RCSS have different political ideology, so it is difficult to get uh, uh, ceasefire in the Shan State, and and on other side, there's Myanmar military, and so we can see there are three crew in Shan State. It's difficult to get ceasefire agreement between them. After the military coup, it began more complicated as uh, there's a another organization called PDF in the region. Yeah. So especially local people suffer have to suffer about this conflict and the impact of a lot of armed groups. Yeah, they have to pay money and prepare for the armed groups, especially respectively, who control their region. Yeah.
So you say that there are different political ideologies of the RCSS and the WA, and that's what made the ceasefire difficult in the pre-coup years. As far as you can share, can you describe what those respective political ideologies are?
Yes, we can say, if we can say in simple terms, what political ideology came from China and as a political ideology came from Western, especially we can say US. So they have different kind of uh, approach to the people and to peace process. Um, we can say UWSA has UWSA the COCAN and the EAOs have a community-based political ideology. So, but in the region, Wakru has more power and more manpower and weapon power. Yes.
And how would you describe the political ideology of the RCSS?
Yes. To my knowledge, RCSS, RCSS depend, RCSS need to depend on Thailand and Thailand and US. But RCSS political ideology is just like autocracy, just like autocracy. They depend only on a leader called USA, and their political ideology is just like uh, Shan nationalism. Yeah.
Hmm. And so, how would you describe looking at these two major groups that you cover,
Yeah.
the USWA and the RCSS? How would you describe, respectively, their relationship with the military junta before the coup, and then how did it change after the coup?
In 2019, uh, UWSA hosted anniversary event called 30-year peace building anniversary. 30 year. So at that event, they show their military power, including drone and a lot of modernized weapon uh, in their event. And so this that show their power and also uh, their situation in Shan State, and they 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 have a relationship with Myanmar military, but they don't obey what Myanmar military want and Myanmar military dare, and so they have their own area and big military power. So uh, uh, they can do whatever they want in their area, and I think relationship is just like that. But RCS situation is different with UWSA. They they uh they RCSS has has to care two sides. One side is Myanmar military, and um, the other side is UWSA and its alliance. So uh, it is my opinion that RCSS also don't want to fight with Myanmar military because they are uh, occasionally fighting with SSPP. It is UWSA alliance. So if they fight with Myanmar military, also they will have two enemies and two they will have enemy in both sides. So they don't want to fight with Myanmar military, and they I think they are acting like water follow fish follow relationship with Myanmar military. Yeah. I think both UWSA and RCS has relationship with Myanmar military, but there's not a kind of alliance relationship. That is just like water follow fish follow relationship. Yeah.
And then, since the coup, I'm curious as well what you've seen in the change of these two principal groups, the RCSS and the WA. How have they responded differently, or perhaps in similar ways, since the coup's taken place?
Yes. As soon as the coup happened, RCSS declared that they don't accept the coup, and they will stand with people. This the very first statement from an EAO after the coup. But later, the situation has changed a little, and as I mentioned before, RCSS has decided to take care Myanmar military and UWSA alliance group. So they their tone began silence. Their voices began silent on what Myanmar military doing, and also another challenge for RCSS is PDF in Shan State. PDF in Shan State. So most PDF in Shan State were trained by UWSA Alliance Group, not UWSA, TNLA, KIA, and in some part, SSBB also trained the PDF. So PDF on RCSS side, PDF is part of SSBB and TNLA group. So it's difficult to decide how to retrieve PDF at the situation for RCSS, I think, and so they are keeping more relationship with military at the situation. And on RCSS side, on UWSA side, UWSA kept their silence on coup. They don't mention, they don't tell anything about that. But in 2023, they they released their statement after meeting with Myanmar Online in Naypyidaw. In their statement, they said that the coup and the current conflict in Myanmar is the conflict between Burmese people, and this is viral time set, not the matter of ethnic people like Wa. There is just there is only one statement about the coup, but on the other hand, some PDF were trained by DNLA and KIA. They are also member of FBNCC. So if UWSA has a strong desire not to take back in the current conflict, I think they were denied of training the PDF. So, but they also kept silent on that. That's what we can say about RCSS and UWSA. Yeah.
That's an excellent explanation. Thank you for that. And it's an alphabet soup of acronyms that are being thrown around. We can only hope that the listeners can follow with how extremely complicated it is. And the picture that you're painting of the UWSA is really fascinating in terms of how they're seeing their alliances and what they're saying. Because on one hand, you're talking about a joint statement made with the dictator, Min Aung Hlaing, in Naypyidaw, the capital, officially, formally declaring this is not a part of a national uprising, but this is a Bamar on Bamar internal conflict, which is code for let them handle it the way they want to handle it. Yet at the same time, you're also talking about some of the other EAOs that the UWSA is aligned with, particularly the KIA, the TNLA, among others, who are taking an active part in sheltering and training and even leading operations with PDFs, which are, of course, made of Bamar, largely from urban areas that are being trained specifically with the purpose of going and attacking the Burmese military. And so it does sound a bit like talking out of both sides of their mouth. And then we haven't even mentioned where China fits in here and the relationship between the Chinese and the Wa and how that further complicates all this. So, and I should mention as well, you haven't got into this, but we've had past podcast guests who have talked about the role that the UWSA has played in arms manufacture and how many of the small arms that are that the PDFs as well as other EAOs have are coming from WA factories. That there are some clear signs of this as well, and so I wonder if all this. Hearing all of this, I think the mind can be full of apparent contradictions of how this in the world all fits together. Perhaps one simple answer, and I wonder what you think of this, is that they're simply hedging all their bets. They're simply trying to be able to have it all at once, so that however this turns out, that they're well situated and can respond to how things unfold.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, the coup is is the coup impact the coup impact has good for something good for ethnic people and ethnic organization. Just before the coup, people from mainland did not understand where about the situation of ethnic groups and ethnic people what ethnic people suffer in their land. Now the majority of Burmese people now understand how the military is brutal and their death or crackdown on the people, just like burning down the village. At first, before the coup, most of people from mainland don't believe that, and now they suffer on their own. And so, uh, and and other thing is it about the Myanmar military. Before the coup,
Mm-hmm.
Myanmar military has to fight only with ethnic armed groups, and not in mainland. Now there are a lot of resistant group in mainland, and they have to focus on it, and they have to release their control on ethnic area, many ethnic areas. So the coup give some opportunities to EAO and ethnic people. I think what UWSA always asks to fund war state in their area. Their political aim is that to get our war state, and also every every EAO in Shan State has their own aims. So I think they were formed. They were to their dream come true, using some good opportunity of the coup, and so they were. I think they were also have PDF and NUG, because of if they have PDF, they will have more manpower to fight Myanmar military. I think, but their main purpose is to achieve their political aim, something like war state and TNLA control area and Kokan control area. So a PDF and NUG and Burmese resistance for need to do themselves for their political aim. And in my opinion, they cannot depend on EAO and other armed force to get there to achieve their their political aim. I mean, EAOs, every EAO were due to achieve what they aim, and after that, they were not involved actively in the revolution.
And so that brings up the obvious question of what those political aims are. And this leads into this wider discussion of looking at to what extent the different fighting groups in the country are really aimed at trying to have a genuine federal democracy, and to what extent we can anticipate once the strongman in the military goes away, we can start to fear the possibility of continued ongoing conflict and a power vacuum that these groups then fill with continued fighting and strife, or balkanization, that all these different groups kind of split into their own individual entities and it further disintegrates. What are your thoughts about looking just particularly at this microcosm of Eastern Shan State and the principal ethnic groups that are present there? What are your thoughts into what these ultimate political aims that they desire to be?
Yes, This is my opinion. I think most every leaders of EAO talk about federal democracy, but I think it is it may be a second thing or second political aim of then. I think uh, ge- to get their control area is the first political aim for them. Uh, uh, just like UWSA has their own control area, and they can pay their military power more and more, and so uh, every uh, every government cannot take control over them. So I think the first and main political aim of every EAO is about that. Yeah, if they don't have their control area and military power and power, they cannot. They think they will think uh, they cannot negotiate with every government, on the table. Yeah. So you can see that AA is now fighting for uh, Rakhine State and is almost taken control completely. And also TNLA uh, uh, fight to control their area, and also coup can fight for their own administration area. So maybe their political ideology is uh, copy from UWSA. They want to be just like UWSA, and UWSA has their own control area, and they don't fight much with other group, like including Myanmar Army, and they pay their power in in recent years. So now they became the biggest group, and even military cannot control them. I think that is the dream of most EAO now fighting. Yeah.
So if you're saying that the UWSA is a kind of model that the other EAOs might be inspiring to, I think this is the kind of statement that would have many Western allies and international observers on the edge of their seat cringing with a statement like this, because when you're looking at the possibility of a federal democracy, a post-coup, post-Tatmadaw federal democracy in Myanmar, I haven't heard too many indications that this is something that the UWSA in particular is all that thrilled about and all that motivated to want to support and to create. That doesn't necessarily give them more security or more revenue or more stability than their current setup as they have it now. And so if you're saying that that this is the aim of every ethnic armed group or many of the big ethnic armed groups or even some of the big ones, this seems to be a clear indication towards this fear of disintegration, balkanization. Now, some have asked the question, we can bookmark this because this would be a side note. Some have said, hey, balkanization isn't such a bad thing. It's not, if things do go this way, it's not that what is this federal union anyway? It's a bunch of British colonialists, centuries ago that were just poring over a map and putting artificial boundaries in places that the Bamar kings of centuries never even controlled.
Yes. I don't mean they are not interested in federal democracy. Maybe the federal democracy is the final aim of their political aims. The the first aim is to get control their own control area and to build military power. And so I think it is my opinion. I think the is federal democracy would be very difficult to get in Myanmar. It will depend on the uh, the quality of leaders who control armed groups and political party. They need to they need to they need to do wisely, and they need to think about the people and not their interests. So if they can do wisely and they think about their people, federal democracy where we achieve. If not, other situation, I think many leaders of armed crew and armed crews are doing their own doing for their own interest and not think about the people. Uh, they were one day they were talk about uh, federal democracy, but it had to achieve if they only uh, do for their interest. I mean, after post Myanmar military era. Yeah.
Right. So let's move on now to the second issue that
Yeah.
you mentioned grabbed you and grabbed your interest about this region when you decided to go and set up a media operation there, and that's the illicit drug trade, the Golden Triangle region.
Yeah. As for me, it is very I was very surprised when I moved to Tachileik that about drug smuggling in mainland or in mainland it is difficult to find uh, drug like yama or other drug like ice. It's difficult to find. But in Tachileik, you can even find on the street, on every street. And
Wow.
yeah, the price is very low. If you pay 100 baht, you can get 5 to 6 Yama
Oh, wow.
tablets.
Uh-huh.
So uh, in that area, uh, uh, using drugs and manufacturing drugs are just like normal thing. Um, um, uh, all military officer and police officer know who are manufacturing the drug and where they manufacture the drug, but they ignore they ignore mostly about that because there's two reason. There are two reasons. One is corruption, and they get a lot of money from that, and second is their safety. If they sit and crack down on manufacturing side, they will also have to fight back from the criminal. So most government authority ignore about that. Yeah, if in in what people are saying is if if the authorities sees a car with drug on from the other road, tanker with drug were passed. Yeah, that's uh, I can I can even talk about that because I am now in exile. I don't dare to about that situation if I am in Eastern Shan State area. It's very dangerous um, and there are a lot of interest uh, of groups, including Myanmar military.
So you're saying that the only reason that you're answering these questions now is because you're in exile and so you feel you're in safety. If you were in Myanmar and when you were in Myanmar, these were not topics you addressed publicly. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so you mentioned there are very powerful interests. Can you, if you feel comfortable and safe now being in exile, can you expand on the nature of what these interests are?
Uh, yeah. Drug issue is the related to the peace process because uh, to fight and build up to build up military power and other expenses to for other expenses every organization need money and drug smuggling is one of the main income sources of every organization uh, in in that area. So, but sometimes we can see some news of seizings and raiding manufacturing drug manufacturing area. There's sometimes that's only for show, and they if after seasons raiding manufacturing site, they will manufacture more and more drug. Every That's why in uh, you can see that there's uh, uh, there's less resistant group pro democracy movement in Eastern Shan State less than other part of area because of the kind of things related to their interest. They they negotiate with each other to get money and to get income for their interest and they don't want to fight each other. You can see significantly, and so drag is one of those things. Yeah.
That's fascinating. And when you talk about the drugs that are being produced there, is that mostly methamphetamine, or is there also heroin and poppies coming?
Yeah. Uh, Before the coup, the growing of heroin plant poppy plant reduced significantly in Shan State, but manufacturing methamphetamine, Yama and Ice is more benefit more got more benefit from got more benefits. So um, uh, manufacturing manufacturing chemical is more easy and can make more profit. So uh, before the coup, manufacturing chemical drug is higher than heroin, manufacturing heroin. But after the coup, uh, uh, the country economy uh, began began wired and wired, and people start growing back the heroin, start manufacturing heroin back, and now I think uh, it it begins equal in amount manufacturing drug and heroin. Yeah.
And where are these drugs going? Where are they being sold?
Yeah. The chemical need for drug, the chemical need for drugs, need for drug manufacturing can come from uh, neighboring countries significantly, Thailand and China.
Hmm.
Yes. Um, where they go is where they go is just like that. Look at people. Look at the user. Look at people. Is not much. Not much. Not much. Not much. Not much like smuggling to other neighboring country. Yeah. Shan State is just a place of manufacturing the drugs. The raw material needed to manufacture the drug are coming from the neighboring country like Thailand and China, and the drug has been sold to those country because um, look at people don't use what all the amount of manufacture in Shan State.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so much being produced.
Yeah, but another track is going to country like Bangladesh, are passing through the whole uh, mainland of Myanmar, and from Shan State to they 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 carry they carry the drug from Shan State to Rakhine State. That's a long way. But has to pass a lot of state and region, and then the drug are sold to Bangladesh.
So China has very strict drug laws, so I can't imagine that Beijing is very happy with a bunch of cheaply made mass narcotics that are flooding into their country. So has China taken any action to try to stop the manufacture, the product, or the supplies that are going over there, or the illegal smuggling of drugs into their country? What has been their response to this huge influx of meth now flooding the markets?
Yeah, China has uh, a severe punishment on using drug and smuggling drug, and but uh, that's why people that's why the uh, drug smuggler uh, drug smuggler uh, sold their products to Thailand mostly. I I I I never heard about seizing big amount of drug in China.
And you talk about how that the nature of these drug operations across eastern Shan State has changed the nature of the conflict and perhaps even the means to those political objectives, even if the political objectives themselves are not changing, but the means of getting there and the relation to the rest of the conflict in the country against the military, that what we're seeing in eastern Shan State is different because of the presence of the Golden Triangle, and that because the as you say, and as Patrick Wynn has said, who's also been a guest on this podcast, that that in order to build and sustain a military, you need to have a lot of fund, and drugs are one of the fastest and most efficient ways to be able to build that fund. And so there is all the different groups that are there, even if they're not quite getting along, they see that this trade needs to continue in some form to continue to supply their armies and to have their militaries intact. And so the question is, would you say that all of the different fighting forces that are present in this region, that all of them, to your knowledge, have some kind of stake in the drug trade? And where does the Myanmar military fit into this as well?
Yes. And to my knowledge, I cannot say all parties are involved in drug manufacturing, but uh, but to my knowledge, drug manufacturing places move from place to place inside the Shan State after the coup. After the coup, some armed groups accept the manufacturer in their places, and but for smuggling, most armed group have to had to involve in smuggling because passing they hopefully they were no passing from their area, and but mostly they ignore about it because they got they got some benefit from
Sure.
that. Yeah,
And how about the military? How are they involved in the smuggling?
they got large amount of money from by ignoring the smuggling ways.
I see. And we've heard a lot about these scam centers. We've had Jason Tower on, who has one of the leading analysts in researching about the presence of these scam centers. Are there scam centers, to your knowledge, that are functioning in the Tachileik area in eastern Shan State that you've covered?
Yeah, the scam center scam centers are uh, located in Tachileik since 2019,
Mm-hmm.
to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
There were two scam centers in Tachileik in 2019, and one of my businessman sources, to talk about that at the time. They he can't even believe about that because he can't even believe that there was a kind of business like that, scam center. Yet since he said he talked about that since 2019, but at the time, I the topic about that is not very popular, and people did not notice about that. In 2000, 2020, a girl from Cambodia contact me to rescue his friend, to rescue her friend, that who was trapped in a scam center in Tachileik. Yeah, at that time, I I informed about that to police station, and as I am familiar with township police officer, I informed about that uh, to him, and he he went to that place with his forces and search for him, but there's nothing in that area. And so I asked the Cambodian guy about what uh, 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 the history of uh, history, and finally I know that he he that his her friend is a guy from Scan Center, and she already lose 115,000 US dollar in amount after playing a game from his friend, her friend. So I I write about I cover about that story, and and I became noticed. Eventually, there are a lot of scam center in Shan State and Tachileik, and after after that, Chinese government also Chinese government want to crack down on this scam center because of the impact to their citizens. And now most scam center are uh, moved to the places of Lao area. We know this about that. Yeah.
Mm, right. So you describe discovering this scam center as early as 2019 and 2020.
Yeah.
And what surprises me about that is in our interview with Jason Tower, he described the development of these scam centers largely arising from COVID, which would be 2020 then post 2020,
Yeah.
because the casinos couldn't operate as normal, and so they ended up being converted into kind of scam centers. But you're describing the existence of these operations. If you're talking 2019, you're certainly talking before COVID. So,
Yeah.
what can you clarify that timeline and also talk about if it was before COVID, this would very much be an early precursor of something that was to become very, very bad very, very soon. So, if you can describe the nature of what, as far as you were able to tell in your investigation, what was the scam center doing?
Yes. uh, yes. Just as you mentioned, it is uh, began large and uh, large amount in numbers of scan standard uh, became in COVID period, and to my according to my investigation, the scam center in scam center, all workers need to find out the victim, uh, a man or woman, a person who who can be scam can be scammed. They used many ways, including search attraction, including profit attraction, including romantic relationship, just like that. They use many way to get money from the bidding. Uh, One of my soldiers uh, who who was released from the scan center told me that they need to he need to find a person or virgin to scan to make scan uh, 1% a day. If he cannot find, he cannot get salary.
Mm.
He cannot get salary. In scam game, uh, scam workers uh, also also uh, also the virgin of the business owner. Yeah, they cannot if they cannot scan the money, they will not get salary. And the if a worker wants to uh, resign from the job, he or she need to pay uh, fine fine money to the business. So most of scan center are a bit compound, and there are a lot of people. There are a lot of workers, including speak Thai, speak Chinese, speak English, and speak Burmese, and they are as their target uh, as their targets are from rich country like China, and European country, and US and Thailand. The business needs people who can speak that kind of language. So they if in their compound there are a lot of hostel and working area and dining area, and even um, uh, Baba shot in the compound. Yeah.
Mm. Right, I see. Okay. Let's move on now and get to the last item you said that was a particular interest area in Eastern Shan State, and learn about this subject both before the coup and then as it changed after the coup. And that was the very small minority groups that are only found in certain pockets of this part of the country.
Yes. When I moved to Eastern Shan State, I found that there are some interesting minor ethnic groups like Akar and Lahu in that area, and also there are also small minor ethnic group in that area,
Mm-hmm.
and their culture and traditions are very interesting, uh, very interesting, and also another 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 thing is uh, about the literacy in that area, and the literacy rate of Eastern Shan State is the lowest in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So what I found is what I found about the literacy rate is about is related to drug smuggling and drug plan the related to drugs, because people and as just like many Bora area, as Myanmar language is not useful like other country other languages like Thai or Chinese. So many young people don't want to learn Myanmar language, and so that's why they cannot. Uh, uh, and also they don't. They they are not. They don't interest about education. If if they can speak Thai or Chinese, if they can easily get a job with a good income. And if but if you are if you are educated from Myanmar University, that's not very useful for them. And also in rural area, uh, people can easily get many drugs, and so they uses, and they don't interest about education at all. So uh, and also one one more thing is related to permanentization. Permanentization. Uh, ethnic people ethnic people need to need to be uh, need to be teach by uh, Myanmar language in their primary school. So children are speaking their own language at home, and when they go to school, they are teach by the teaching language is Burmese language, so they don't understand. They don't understand language and also alphabet. So I think using their own language as a teaching language is only 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 in 2012 and 2013. 2013. Before that, they need to learn in Myanmar language, and they don't understand. That is one of the biggest challenges for them to go to school.
That's a really dark and compelling picture that you're painting, both about the lives of ethnic minorities as well as really the future of this country and this union and what it means. Because on one hand, you're saying that these ethnic youths, a degree from a Burmese university and a fluency in Burmese doesn't really do almost anything at all for their future job prospects. But then another aspect that you touch upon is that it's kind of the worst of both worlds, I guess you can say, where on one hand, they're being force-fed a diet, a Burmanization, both of I'm sure history, you didn't mention this, but I'm sure it's a very Burmanized version of history that doesn't so much acknowledge their own peoples or their own history, but more of the propagandized, militarized, Burmanized version. But then also the language. So they're force fed a dose of Burmese language that it sounds like they're not understanding. They're not learning Burmese properly, and they're speaking their ethnic language at home, and then they're not investing. There's no reason for them to invest and follow through with a Burmese language diet going forward, because that's not going to give them anything in the country. So they then have a smattering of Burmese before going on to try to master Chinese or Thai to be able to seek those opportunities abroad. And as you're saying this, I'm just struck by what this again means about federal democracy, and how are you able to have to support a Burmese curriculum that is able to bring people into what hopefully is a stable federal democratic structure, while also allowing them to encourage and follow through with their own native tongue and preserve that, and to hopefully grow up being bilingual or even more than bilingual, and to the extent that they're then able to stay in that country and serve that country, that they're able to, if you just imagine a future where I don't know, an Aka or a Lahu comes to Mandalay or Yangon and gets their doctor degree and gets it by studying, taking courses in Burmese and English, and then goes back to their own Aka or Lahu community and is able to administer medical care or whatever else it is they're doing, and then and code switch, as happens in many countries and societies, and go back into the native language of that village, and having taken that professional knowledge with them, rather than the situation we see now where you have more of a Burmanized approach that then doesn't serve anything. So they want to learn Chinese or Thai to go across the border to advance their economic opportunities and their career.
Yes. Oh, there are many areas in Myanmar, like Eastern Shan State, and so we need to change our education system. Um, uh, we need to think about minor ethnic people. We need to uh, we we need to do many things after post military war. Uh, and I would like to share about a story that happened recently. How how bad is this? A man from a woman from Lahu village uh, uh, had to born a baby. It is that time was 7 times of her labor, and he cannot he she cannot she was not able to give birth in her village, and people near her advised that advised to take 3 pillow or metha- methamphetamine to get strength to give birth. And after taking 3 pillow, 3 tablets of Yama, she was able to give birth, but the baby is not alive, um, and came out in peace. In peace. In a real area of ethnic people, they are about drug, about their literacy, about their knowledge are very about their knowledge, about the healthcare system, about the education. Everything is really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, that's certainly important to bring in mind and to know that reality. And I know that after the coup, you and your whole operations had to leave, as did all media everywhere in Myanmar, for safety. But as far as you've been able to tell, what do you know is happening within these communities now, and how are they being affected by the military coup and the ongoing violence?
Yes, before the coup, there are a lot of local media, regional media, and ethnic media in in the in their focus area, and there are a lot of journalists. There are members of parliament, and people can people were people were able to tell what they suffer, and what they had been, and also about the abuses, and about the violation of human rights of the armed force or local authority. They were able to tell, and they can uh, uh, journalists and media can and were able to amplify their voices at the time. After the coup, Myanmar military is oppressing the media and journalists. So most of some journalists need to get off their professional and journalism career, and some most journalists has had to be exiled and had to be ran away from their places. So people people losses 50 to 70% of their freedom of expression after the coup. So, as I mentioned before, in many ethnic area, uh, there are a lot of bad situation now. They they lost their freedom of expression and they began almost voiceless in the region after the coup because of a crackdown Myanmar military because of Myanmar military crackdown on independent media.
Hmm.
And just for example, the story I mentioned uh, uh, before about a woman give birth story. I my newsroom team covered the story and published on Facebook. After 2 hours of being published, as my sources contacted me to delete that story because uh, the uh, the woman who give birth uh, is afraid of being arrested by the police because of our news story. So finally, I had to delete that story because of her safety.
Mm.
Yeah, the freedom of press and freedom of expression began bad like that.
How have the ethnic groups themselves been affected by these very small ethnic groups like the Aka and the Lahu and the others? How has the military coup and the violence of the last 3 years affected them and their lives?
Yes. Uh, uh, just some people from minor ethnic group who are like Lahu and Akar involved in revolution and anti coup movements, and most of them are now in the prison, and also uh, 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 some abusers like uh, 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 some abusers like occupying lands that owned by ethnic people, and some businessmen and local authority use their money and their power. They occupy many lands of ethnic people in Eastern Shan State. But now, ethnic people cannot find in the cannot find their right. Uh, they cannot go to police station, and they cannot go to uh, court uh, at this moment. And the worst thing is they lost their uh, voice to amplify in publicity. Yeah, they are very afraid. They are very afraid of being arrested uh, by the military if they connect to independent media. Yeah.
Mm. I see. I want to talk more about that nature of independent media because you had set up in the transition period, you set up an independent media platform in Eastern Shan State and in Tachileik, and you, during as imperfect as the transition period was and as dangerous as some of the reporting you were doing was as well on the ground, you were also able to get by. And as you talked about with me before the interview, you didn't really need to rely so much on donor organizations or grant writing. You were basically self-sufficient from the start, as I understand it, relying on ad revenue, and as a local paper should be doing anywhere in the world, being able to have a proper business model that's able to fund itself to keep production. But after the military coup, the Mekong News, along with so many other regional and national media outlets all across the country, had to literally run for their lives, and some were not able to run fast enough. And tragically, some journalists have been imprisoned, tortured, and killed by remaining in the country, or simply because they were targeted and couldn't leave soon enough. And so, can you talk about what it's been like for you to have to suddenly and urgently close shop, run across the border, and be able to now operate in exile, as well as the challenges with visa, with safety here, to say nothing of how you're able to survive economically now that your business model has really been thrown out the window?
Yeah, as you mentioned, before the coup, we can get our income from commercial advertising and from the business, commercial advertising from the business, and that income is annexed. That income was annexed to operate the the media outlet. But after the coup, we have no income at all from that sector because military uh, give the pressure to stop communicating and supporting independent media. So we and also we had to run away from our places because of the run of 505A, and many journalists are had to relocated to exile. And in exile, there are a lot of challenges for us, including expenses, large amount of expense, and also legal status, things like that, and also income and funding. Uh, uh, I I would like to uh, tell about tell that that independent the role of independent media is important uh, for the people
Sure.
for the people
Yeah.
and also it began more important in that kind in this kind of situation like Myanmar,
Yeah.
especially
Right.
conflict area,
Uh-huh.
because not only not only Myanmar military, but also most and group are trying to commit human rights violation and other violation in this situation. So uh, uh, independent media is one of few whistleblower in this situation, and um, even though there are a lot of threat from organization, and so uh, the the existence of independent independent media can defend and improve the uh, freedom of expression of the people, and to amplify the voices of local people, uh, because most of local people are now in voiceless. If if independent media cannot operate and their operation, that small chances of defending and promoting in the freedom of expression and amplifying the voices of local people where become. Yeah.
That's really true. I really want to emphasize and underscore the critical nature of what you said and the role that independent media plays in any society, in any democracy, but certainly one where conflict has become the norm, and certainly one where tyranny is tipping the scales and is trying to act with impunity, that it is the role of independent journalism to hold that to account. So that's tremendously difficult, the situation that not just you, but the entire now exiled Myanmar media finds itself in, where before you had the media scattered around the country reporting respectively on those places and issues that mattered to it, and now you have them operating a kind of stuck together in a very small boat, you can say, operating a very small physical place. And what's even worse, well, I don't know what's worse. I mean, they're operating in exile. There's the problems with illegal status and visa, but what's particularly dangerous is that the funding sources have all narrowed tremendously. And so basically, all these different media platforms no longer are able to adhere to traditional business models and are going after the same pie, are going after, are trying to survive and stay afloat by seeking funding from the same small donor community, in which funding for Myanmar across the board is going down everywhere. There's just not a lot of funding left for Myanmar, despite the Burma Act and some of these other possibilities that we're hearing about, where just the funding is not there, and there's not many other ways to get that funding.
Yes, independent media are the whistleblowers of the situation happen in on the ground. As you mentioned about the funding, that's really true, and most regional and local media are trying very hard to survive in at this moment, as the funding narrowed down tremendously. Um, and, and independent media uh, can defend and promote freedom of expression, but
Mm-hmm.
also and also we independent media uh, can can express about the situation, what happened in the area.
Mm-hmm.
It is important because things like scam center is not only affected to the
Sure.
not only affected locally
Yeah.
but also affected globally. So
Absolutely.
if there's no report of independent media about that,
Mm.
it is difficult to
Mm.
understand by by the people of the war. So and also uh, independent media can perform as a bridge between uh, uh, war or conflict in the area, and also can inform people, uh, can inform the people what happened on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, existence of the independent media is very important, and if if funding situation is not changed in coming years, some of regional, ethnic, and local media has to be disappear, I think, or has to reduce their operation their newsroom operation uh, has to reduce their sign off their news and reporting operation.
Mm. Right. And I want to pick up on something that you said in your answer where you talked about how the role of independent media is to report on both sides. And I think that's a really important point because certainly you want to report on the side of calling out the tyranny of the oppressor and the military regime and to be able to uncover all the illicit and cruel and barbaric things that they're doing to retain their power, really their hold on a kind of mafia terror state that they're creating. But I think you also touch upon the fact that media, in principle at least, should be fair and balanced, and to as far a degree as that is possible. We can't pretend that bias doesn't exist. We all have bias as subjective humans on this earth, but we can acknowledge bias and we can mitigate it where possible. And I think this is something that sometimes can become misunderstood or confused by the Myanmar readership, that the media should be on the side of the revolution. That the media should be very clearly amplifying and supporting the revolution wherever possible. And this is I think if you look historically, this is a challenging point to have to decide on where media falls on. I'm thinking, as I say this, I'm thinking about World War II, and I'm thinking about American media that was certainly embedded and invested in the fight for America and the Allies to win the war against the Nazis and the Axis regime. And certainly reporters who would be privy to certain information, whether they were devastating losses or planned operations that the Allies were intending to do, or stories that could inspire the homeland or affect the morale, that this was an issue. And this is just one example of many that you can give of conflicts around the world with different nations, but just staying on this conflict and the American Sea Allies in World War II, that there was this very careful balance that had to happen between wanting to be somewhat impartial and objective in the news that it was reporting, while also certainly having some bias and wanting America to win the war and the Allies to win the war against the Nazis and Imperial Japan, and wanting its platform to contribute to the hopeful intended victory of the Allies over the Nazis during that time. And so also in Myanmar, it's much, much more complicated because you don't just have the Allies and the Axis powers. You have all these different EAOs and PDFs and the ways that they're fighting with each other, against a common enemy, sometimes on the side of the common enemy, and then the illicit drug trade, as we mentioned, that becomes to be involved, or the separatist balkanization that could risk the federal democracy, and the Burmanization that's still prevalent and existent today, and with the NUG, and that remains a concern. So it's really, really complicated in ways that perhaps other conflicts have not been. But there is a revolution taking place. There is a tyrannical enemy, which does exist in the form of the Burmese military. And then there's you as independent media in the middle of all that, wanting to report objectively on what's happening, but also this is a time of revolution. And in times of revolution, no one's impartial. Everyone is, it's very hard to be able to be without bias and to be an objective medium that's transcending all of this happening. So looking at not just the danger that's posed by the military itself, or by being in exile in a third country where your status isn't quite clear, or even of the some of the armed militias that don't want some of their illicit activities really brought to light, but also just looking at in terms of the people themselves that want this revolution to be successful and want you as media to be on the side of doing everything in your power to support a successful revolution, which sometimes goes against traditionally what the job of objective media should be. But this is not a normal time. So one has to wonder, do the normal standards of journalism apply for an extremely abnormal time? Or can something in there be suspended until we can get to some normalcy, which then we can operate in a more stable place?
Yeah. As soon as the As soon as the military coup happened, uh, I did not accept. I told my friend I did not accept uh, the coup because it is the stepping down of our democratization in
Mm-hmm.
Myanmar,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, we need democracy because of to protect our human right and our freedom of press, freedom of expression, and also the role to protect the role of journalism. Uh, so the military dictatorship is not. We know that military dictatorship is not good. Is not good all time. We already passed in our childhood under the military dictatorship.
Uh-huh.
So we don't we we did not I did not accept the coup as not only as a citizenship but also as a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
So we but we have clear reasons why we did not accept the coup because of our human right and because of our democracy. So um, we 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 are we accept the pro democracy movements, but uh, if the if the resistant force if the resistant force are performing if the resistant force perform or act like military dictatorship, this is what we need to
Uh-huh.
report about,
Uh-huh.
and as we cannot ignore because of the current situation. We need to report. We need to cover of the abuse and violation of every armed forces, and not only the Myanmar military. And also we also need to point out the uh, mislead action or uh, uh, wrong action of every leader of the pro democracy movement, and because not because of personal hate or
Mm-hmm.
personal bias, because of to achieve the democracy but as far as we can. That's why we need to point out, we need to criticize, we need to report, and we need to cover of abusers, violation, and misleading action of resistant forces also.
Mm.
And if we report about that, we certainly we will get a lot of threat, and also a lot of threat from the resistance side, or from the people who believe who absolutely 100% believe in 100% I can say blind belief
Mm.
in the leader of pro democracy movement. But that's our duty and that's our work as a journalist.
Mm. That's tough.
Yeah,
That's a tough situation to be in. You've got a lot on your hands.
yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
yeah. So, I it is my opinion. Journalism editorial policy should be not only for the military, but also for those who act like the dictatorship. Uh,
Mm. Thank you for sharing that. You've got a lot on your hands, and I think this is another representation for our audience, shining a light on just not just how difficult the situation is in Myanmar, but of people like yourself that are in a very challenging time trying to do your best and showing resilience and integrity and ethics and pointing a way towards a new future, a new society that we all want to see. And if there are more people like yourselves, which I know there are in Myanmar, I have every reason to believe that this will be enough to ultimately prevail, not just against the military, but against all forms of tyranny and selfishness and greed that are trying to overcome the safe and stable society that we would all like to see, that could be at least somewhat fair and equitable to those that would like to seek a future and a safety going forward. And I think that's all very much what we'd like to see. And I really thank you for your time and sharing your part of this individually and as a media team, and how you're contributing to this in this very difficult time of instability.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for letting me share like this, and also I'm share the situations and cases, not only for me, but also for the people who suffer bad from the from the current situation. I hope that people around the world can understand more and more about our people and situation. Thank you.
We want to take a moment to introduce you to our nonprofit Better Burma's online shop, which features handicrafts sourced from artisan communities scattered throughout Myanmar. Far from being mass-produced knockoffs, the pieces we offer are unique and handmade, reflecting the wide diversity of different peoples found throughout the country. When Myanmar experienced its transition period, moving from democracy in the late 2010s after decades of harsh military dictatorship, many Burmese craftspeople hoped their beautiful work could finally be appreciated beyond the country. When Myanmar experienced its transition period, moving towards democracy in the late 2010s after decades of harsh military dictatorship, many Burmese craftspeople hoped their beautiful work could finally be appreciated beyond the country's borders. But sadly, this was not to be so. Following the military coup, many skilled artisans suddenly found all possibility of continuing their livelihood closed off and began struggling just to feed their families. With this in mind, we prioritize working with artisans from disadvantaged and vulnerable backgrounds because we know just how hard it can be to survive at the margins of society in Myanmar. This includes such people as those with disabilities, mothers who have contracted HIV/AIDS, civil servants on CDM, ethnic and religious minorities, and more. To view these wonderful pieces, please visit alokacrafts.com. That's Aloka, A-L-O-K-A, crafts, C-R-A-F-T-S, one word, alokacrafts.com. Otherwise, please consider a donation through our usual channels. If you would like to join in our mission to support those in Myanmar who are being impacted by the military coup, we welcome your contribution in any form, currency, or transfer method. Your donation will go on to support a wide range of humanitarian and media missions, aiding those local communities who need it most. Donations are directed to such causes as the Civil Disobedience Movement, CDM, families of deceased victims, internally displaced person IDP camps, food for impoverished communities, military defection campaigns, undercover journalists, refugee camps, monasteries and nunneries, education initiatives, the purchasing of protective equipment and medical supplies, COVID relief, and more. We also make sure that our donation fund supports a diverse range of religious and ethnic groups across the country. We invite you to visit our website to learn more about past projects, as well as upcoming needs. You can give a general donation or earmark your contribution to a specific activity or project you would like to support, perhaps even something you heard about in this very episode. All of this humanitarian work is carried out by our nonprofit mission, Better Burma. Any donation you give on our Insight Myanmar website is directed towards this fund. Alternatively, you can also visit the Better Burma website, betterburma.org, and donate directly there. In either case, your donation goes to the same cause, and both websites accept credit card. You can also give via PayPal by going to paypal.me/betterburma. Additionally, we can take donations through Patreon, Venmo, GoFundMe, and Cash App. Simply search Better Burma on each platform and you'll find our account. You can also visit either website for specific links to these respective accounts or email us at info@betterburma.org. That's Better Burma, one word, spelled BETTERBURMA.org. If you would like to give it another way, please contact us. We also invite you to check out our range of handicrafts that are sourced from vulnerable artisan communities across Myanmar, available at alokacrafts.com. Any purchase will not only support these artisan communities, but also our nonprofit's wider mission. That's Aloka Crafts, spelled ALOKACRAFTS, one word, alokacrafts.com. Thank you so much for your kind consideration and support.